Alright, what is going on, y'all? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. Now for starters, this is going to be a very weird video. It's going to be probably a lot shorter than any of the upcoming videos that I have coming out, or the ones that I've had previously. I have one script ready to go and another one in the works, but this kind of dropped like a bomb on me. I saw a trailer for this exact thing come out a couple of months ago, and I didn't know really what to think about it. Since it was never really an official game or anything along those lines, I wasn't really sure what to do with it. Even now, I was kind of on the fence about talking about it because I wasn't sure what to talk about. But there are a lot of things in this concept trailer that I thought were so fascinating that I just had to sit down and make a video about it. So why don't we go into a little bit of a deep dive and talk about why this concept trailer is so fascinating to all of us. Now for starters, I know that this isn't a game, but as somebody that has made one game in their life, I know for a fact that I am never going to attempt coding ever again. Too complex for me. No thank you, sir. Hence why, even if I wanted to make my own form of a Pokemon game or story, it would have to be done all in writing. I cannot make a game to save my life, and I'm not going to try either. That goes for any kind of animation too. I've tried to draw. Let's just say that there's a reason that I don't do it anymore. What I'm trying to get at is, I have mad respect and appreciation for the people that came together to make this concept trailer. I'm sure that anybody that even took a glance at this could tell that this was made with love from true Pokemon fans. All these visuals and concepts are like a big fat kiss to the community, and I can absolutely appreciate that with every part of my heart. In such a short amount of time, they've created so much going into this little project that I just can't help but fawn over it. It's so well done with so much care that I just can't help rewatching it. It's truly a spectacle, and I'm gonna have it rerunning on the screen above right now for you guys to see, but if you want to see it in all of its glory, I highly recommend that you click the link down in the description below because you need to see this for yourself. Now this has been clarified by the developers of this little concept, but just in case you need to hear it in words instead of just writing, this is not a game and this is not in development to be playable so far. This is simply, as stated by the artists, a concept art with a lot of effort. But even so, even if it's not a game, they said that there's still a lot more to come to this. So I think it's worth looking into, even if it's not becoming a full game. Now the last thing that I feel I need to say before we deep dive into this is that as more of this comes along, I'm super down to do more comparisons between this and the mainline games, and just some more general deep dives into what makes this so fascinating to experience. For now, we're just gonna go ahead and play it by ear because we don't know what's to come of this little concept, but if you want me to continue doing deep dives on this kind of thing, drop a like and a comment to let me know. That's the best way to inform me, y'all. Keep that in mind. But with that, why don't we finally start talking about what makes Pokemon Adventure Sinnoh so cool to us? First and foremost, we're gonna go ahead and talk about those visuals right this second. As a die-hard Pokemon fan coming right out of Sword and Shield, I gotta say, this looks super stunning. The sky looks crazy beautiful and blue, the grass looks crazy luscious, and the trees look like they belong there. And don't even get me started on that water, boy. You know how your boy loves some good looking water. The general backgrounds and things like that are just simply easy on the eyes, and I can absolutely appreciate that. Aesthetically, it's super pleasing. Now let's talk about location. They have chosen quite a couple of places to show off the beauty that is Sinnoh. Canalave City, the Valor Lakefront, Orberg Mine. You can tell that they've been reworked to feel open and alive. And you know, I gotta say, they do a very good job of selling that, especially when the Pokemon are so lively. It's so nice to see Pokemon being as active as the people in these towns, cities, and wherever else. Just like people have their own lives, Pokemon also have their own lives. In a world of Pokemon, they did a great job of showcasing that. Even when we were surfing and diving with that Gyarados, you could see Pokemon just chilling all over the place, flying in the sky, chilling on rocks, surfing in the water. And that right there is how you make a world feel alive, and these people did it with ease. And that's all I want. Like I said, everything here is just visually stunning. Now while I could gush about that for quite some time, I think it's about time we start talking about those animations. Now the animations of the Pokemon look flawless, no doubt about that. However, as far as the humans go, while they do look good overall, I gotta say, that running animation looks kinda crazy. Now let me do a little bit of clarification here. When it comes to games, I love seeing the run animation for the main character that you play as. Usually for me, if the main character that you're playing as has a solid run animation, I'm going to be very inclined to check your game out. Fun fact, that's the primary reason that I got into Persona 5 and Dragon Quest XI, which is why I'm clarifying that this is just a personal thing. Now I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's bad, it looks fine, however, I gotta be honest, that was probably the only part of the trailer that was a little bit on the weaker side for me. Now moving on from that, I gotta say, actual cutscenes actually does it for me. Now don't get me wrong, I do love me some Pokemon, but the way we go into battles has been very stale for a very long time. We have a lot of dialogue through text and then some very stiff movements, and it just kind of transitions us into battle. We've done it the same way forever, so I can't be too mad about it. However, hearing Flint say that he's been waiting on us to show up, that hit kinda different. Hearing him pose and listening to him talk is such a different ballgame that it caught me off guard. I never realized how badly I wanted voice acting in Pokemon until right this second. And if you sit there and tell me that we already have it in Pokemon Masters, I'm gonna smack you. Jokes aside, that little cutscene right there hit me with a different kind of energy, and it excited me so much that frankly, I'm not even sure what to do with myself. That right there is the kind of passion that I want to see and get before battles. We can't get that through text! All I gotta say for that is, very good choice. I love the way they did that. Very well handled. Now moving along here, I want to start talking about some of the gameplay concepts that they introduced. For example, riding Pokemon. Yeah, I am talking about when the trainer was caught riding through that lush field on the back of a Luxray. That right there is godlike. Now the last time that I could think of that we got to properly ride Pokemon was back in Let's Go. That was one of the few things about that game that was actually awesome. So I'll be completely honest with you, this trailer made me a tad jealous. There is no game where I can actually physically ride a Luxray, and seeing it done so well here makes me sad and happy all at the same time. I don't like feelings. And riding on a properly sized Gyarados earns a big fat kiss from me and possibly the rest of the community, because that right there is exactly what we're talking about, dude. Not to mention the rock climbing Rhyperior. There's just something about seeing the Pokemon in action while doing these things that just makes it so much more alive. I really don't know how else to put it. Sure, it saves a lot of time and money to give us that little black shadow thing to ride on, but watching the actual Pokemon do these things in front of us really does make all the difference in the world. Next up, I really want to talk about that Pokeshop concept. So based on the little bit that we saw, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that this is not the same as a Pokemart. I say this because we didn't see any battle items or anything like that in the shop. And you know what? I think more than most of us are okay with a shop that's completely all about aesthetics. First, they showed off the whole stickers on the Pokeball situation, and that right there I'm sure activated a lot of nostalgia. Back in the day, we were able to do a little bit of decorating with the Pokeballs, and that is something that I'm sure a lot of people would give anything to have back. Me personally, I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's something that I'm necessarily dying without, but seeing it there reminded me that there was a time that they did things that they didn't really need to do that added so much more to the game than they probably even realized. Which is why the conscious decision to add that animation right there gets a fat chef's kiss from me. And then there was the whole situation where we saw Lucario and Garchomp getting dressed up in accessories. I'm gonna sit here and say it like this, Game Freak could never allowing us to personalize our Pokemon besides just nicknaming? No, that's too much for Game Freak. The idea that I could possibly put my Shinx in a scarf makes me tear up damn near. It's so small and it's so stupid, but it makes me so happy. I'm about to sound super dramatic when I say this, but the concept of being able to dress up and accessorize any Pokemon we want at any given time is just magical. And even though it's not currently a thing right now, I hope that one day we can do that outside of contests. Now the final thing that I actually want to talk about here is the battle concept that they showed at the end of this trailer. I put this one as its own little section because this concept is actually game changing. So within the trailer, you can see that Empoleon is physically moving around the battlefield next to that Infernape. As a matter of fact, it almost seemed as if that Empoleon was being controlled by the player. Now that right there is wild because that is a concept that's been brought up by the community 1,000 times over. That kind of freedom is what people have been wanting in Pokemon battles for a very long time. But it's not like this is something that we ever expect to happen. At the end of the day, Pokemon is through and through a turn-based RPG. But this concept is just so cool to us because it's such a nice way to spice up battling. Newer, more impatient players would probably be a hell of a lot more active and invested in the game if they could actually control the Pokemon and the moves that they use themselves. Now this is coming from me. Turn-based RPGs are my absolute favorite genre. If I'm ever turning away from that genre, it's probably because I'm dead. But even so, even I have to admit, allowing us to be more active within the battles ourselves gives us a better sense of urgency. We're more likely to be invested in the game if we feel that everything that we do actually has an effect. And tell me, what's more gripping than almost straight up fighting games? Looking at this, it's almost like they gave us a tidbit of a stiffer version of Pokken. And you know what? I'm not at all mad about that. However though, I don't think that this would work exactly like Pokken. In this case, it would definitely be a lot more simplified. I imagine that a lot of the fight would be dodging basic attacks. These basic attacks would do very little damage and we would be mashing away until we had enough power or energy to use real attacks. When we do build up enough energy to use our real attacks, we are most definitely going to make sure that we aim it out first. I imagine that missing an attack like that would be very detrimental and it would take more time to defeat your opponent. Or at least that's how I see it. Again, these are all concepts and this is just an idea that kind of popped into my head when I saw this. So anyhow, while this concept is cool, I've realized that creating this type of battlefield and utilizing every Pokemon for this concept would take quite some time. If Pokemon were to actually do it like this, we'd be waiting for at least 3 to 4 years on a game like that because they would have to create animations for at least half the Pokedex. Not that a lot of us would mind, I'm sure, but just saying, that would be one hell of a wait. And then the final thing that I have to say about this concept is simply the fact that it would slow battling down so much, it would be kinda ridiculous. Now it'd still be fun, don't get me wrong. However, imagine this style of battle with every trainer in the game. Even with Pokemon's generally easy difficulty scaling, we'd be spending at least a solid 5 to 10 minutes on every single battle, depending on how many Pokemon the opponent had. Which means that around the normal time that we'd be beating a Pokemon game, which is about the 40-hour mark, yeah, we would be past that hour by the first half of the game. And by the way, this isn't even calculating wild Pokemon encounters. Now, as somebody that loves very long RPGs to get invested into, that would probably scare a lot of people away. Either that or they're gonna turn a 200-hour game into a 4,000-hour game. Yeah, there is no in between, we're kinda crazy. But anyhow, that just about does it for my analysis, breakdown, whatever you want to call this, on Pokemon Adventure Sinnoh. Overall, this is a very amazing concept, and now whatever these people put out, I'm absolutely going to be gunning to watch it because this is so interesting to me. This is a Pokemon fan's dream come true in animation format, which is really unfortunate because if this were a fan game, this would go absolutely nuts. However though, I'm sure we're now all more than aware as to how Nintendo usually handles fan games. So unfortunately, an animation is just about as far as this project can go. Otherwise, they'd be receiving a hot and steamy cease and desist letter from Nintendo the moment they decide to release this game to the public. Which again is just really unfortunate because like I said at the beginning of this video, fans know how to do it right. Me personally, I love getting chills from things, and I'm talking about goosebumps when you see something really cool. I got that a couple of times from this trailer because they just did things right here. And what I've realized by watching this a couple of times is that it's so unfortunate that that only happens from things outside of the mainline Pokemon games. Maybe sometimes the little spin-off animes will do it for me, maybe once in a blue moon the spin-off games will do it for me, but the mainline games? No, I've never gotten goosebumps. Which is why it kind of frustrates me that the Pokemon company won't utilize ideas like this simply because it's too much work. And I just find that truly ironic that that's probably the mindset of a multi-billion-dollar company. But whatever, I could go on about that for days. But with that, I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are on Pokemon Adventure Sinnoh. Did you think that it was an awesome concept trailer and you're super excited to see what else they put out? Or do you think that this was a foolish mock-up trailer and you don't want to see anything more of it ever again and the mainline Pokemon games are just perfect the way they are? I want to hear what you guys think in the comment section below. As per always, I'm always down there. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and skedaddle on out of here. Thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Make sure to drop a like and a comment and consider subscribing for more content just like this. And with that, I'm out. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!